An English traveler encounters the wildest of things on his journey to map out routes. He discovers a village ruled over by a dark and powerful witch. He joins forces with allies and attempts to bring down the witch and free the dragon from captivity. But with so many obstacles, will they successfully get it done? What is his fate as he travels between kingdoms? Hello, welcome to our channel. So today we will recap and review an adventure movie titled Iron Mask. So let's check it out. The movie opens in a prison cell where three men are held captive. Among the three men is Peter the Great and also a particular master. While in captivity, they intercept a message pigeon. It piques their interest to know what message the pigeon was carrying. Finally, they decode the news and discover it's a message from a particular cartographer, Jonathan, who was writing to his wife, Miss Dudley. The letter reads of his encounters through his adventures and how an impostor of Peter the Great deceived him, which led to his captivity and imprisonment. While the message was intercepted by the real Peter the Great, he helps redirect the message to Miss Dudley. It appears Jonathan had repeatedly tried to reach her. With the help of Peter the Great, the message finally gets to Miss Dudley. While at the prison, Jonathan meets a fellow captive named Chen Lan. Miss Dudley's parents arrive at the city where Jonathan is held captive. He is freed and allowed to go. However, he opts to carry Chen Lan, a fellow captive, with him. While free, the prison master still plans to finish him off. Jonathan decides to ride east and also look to make Chen Lan his assistant. However, as they ride out, they are ambushed by a group of men. Chen Lan is able to fight them off and saves Jonathan. Right in the middle of the chaos, they discover a tiny elf and take it along. They keep riding east, and Jonathan keeps sending messages through a pigeon. He confirms Miss Dudley of a certain conspiracy and how the real Russian Tsar Peter the Great is still captured. Miss Dudley decides to visit the prison to see for herself. She arrives at the prison and meets the rugged keeper of the prison, Mr. Hook. Unfortunately, before Mr. Hook could attend to Miss Dudley, she had to witness a little WWE wrestling. Mr. Hook often had a practice where he fought with his prisoners. Whoever made it out was free. Miss Dudley finally meets him and she is welcomed. However, she goes straight to the business that brought her. Miss Dudley informs Mr. Hook of the perceived knowledge that a Russian Tsar was in his prison. Mr. Hook vehemently disagrees but admits there is a certain spy. Miss Dudley goes in to check for herself. She meets Peter and the master in the cell. She finally meets the Russian prisoner who is most likely the Tsar. Right there, they find out that the captive traveling with Jonathan is the master's daughter. It appeared the Russian prisoner was the Tsar, but he was masked to conceal his identity. Jonathan's freedom and China's fate rest on his return as the Tsar. While Miss Dudley was at it, they make a plan with her. They beg that as she leaves, she should try and aid their escape by leaving the gate open. Miss Dudley has doubts in her heart but tries to comply. Unfortunately, but at the same time fortunately, the third man in the cell dies while the soldiers try to get rid of his body. Peter and the master try to escape. It is said that no one has escaped the prison in 500 years. What are the odds they make it out? They both defeat the guard and break out of the cell. However, they still face opposition from Mr. Hook. Peter and the master are still joined together in chains. However, against all odds, they fight back and try their best to escape. The master searches for a specific seal in Mr. Hook's collections, and he finds it. However, there is little time left for him to escape alongside Peter. Mr. Hook catches up on the master on what he has been waiting for. He fights with the skillful master. The fight is quite intense and comic at the same time. Honestly, this is a fight to enjoy because of the two acting legends involved. The contest lasts for a while, with both showing off their strength. The two battle it out while Peter runs off with Seal. He promises the master that he will find his daughter Chen Lan. Peter catches up with Miss Dudley, who plays her part in keeping the gates open. Peter rides alongside Miss Dudley and escapes into a safe place. Mr. Hook is able to return the master back to his cell, and this time makes the chain relatively tighter, but at least Peter has escaped with the seal, and his own freedom is just a matter of time. Peter and Miss Dudley make it out of the soldiers' reach. Peter intends to sail to China on a Russian ship. Miss Dudley opts to come with him, but he refuses her. However, Miss Dudley wasn't going to take no for an answer. She concerned a certain captain and stripped him of his dress. Then, she disguises herself to gain access to the ship. She enters the ship and meets the captain of the vessel. She tries her best to conceal her identity, but that hardly lasts long as the crew members discover lady clothes on the ship. And for a moment, Miss Dudley became the most sought-after woman in the world. I mean, it is only sometimes you find a lady being wanted by a dozen men. Well, to saving her, a storm rocks the ship and disrupts everything. They try their best, but all to no avail. Finally, the captain abandons the sail amidst the frightening storm coming. Peter takes over the sail and remarkably sails through the storm. They are beyond amazed at his exceptional sailing skills. They all speak amongst themselves on how brilliant it was to pull that off. To them, only one person could do this, and that person was the Tsar. Peter goes on to remove the mask, and in the most amazement they discover he is truly the Peter the Great. They go ahead to dethrone the captain that abandoned the ship. They make Peter the new captain of the vessel. At least, this would save Miss Dudley from being kicked off the boat. Meanwhile, Jonathan is still finding his way down east. He has gotten quite far east, and he finds Chenlan's village. But there, they discover something very worrying and disturbing. Chenlan discovers a different evil has taken over her village. They view from afar as they see soldiers terrorizing her people. Chenlan is beyond uncomfortable, and as the true princess, she does have to stop it. She desires to save them, but Jonathan plans to evade the trouble. Chenlan goes into Jonathan's chambers, and though she finds him resting, she bids him farewell. Chenlan has a whole village to save, but what could be this new evil that has taken over? Chenlan sneaks into the city, but she observes the weirdest of things. She witnesses the villagers being exploited and oppressed. The villagers are also attacked when they try to resist the attack. Chenlan can't help it. She joins in the fight. Unfortunately, due to the black magic and science-developed weapons they possess, the witch was able to subdue the villagers and the dragon. However, this was just the beginning, as there was more. Chenlan is attacked by her old friend who accuses her of causing destruction to the village. She is shocked at the claims she has not even been in the town for a while. However, after much persuasion, she is able to convince her friend. But why did her friend think she was the one? Apparently, there was an imposter who, with the help of dark magic, masqueraded as Chenlan. Her friend tells of how the witch has subdued the dragon and bends it at her will. But what can Chenlan do to destroy this powerful evil? The queen learns from her advisor about the resurgence of the actual princess. Her presence threatens her primarily because her plans for controlling the villagers are ending. Jonathan wakes up to discover he has been captured by the village soldiers. He arrives at the village and is presented to the witch. Jonathan presents his work to the witch and she is impressed by his work. However, Jonathan notices the resemblance between her and Chenlan. This further convinces her of Chenlan's presence. Chenlan learns of Jonathan's presence in the village. She sends a message to him to warn him of impending danger and their plan to invade the palace with the help of a map. Jonathan can get the message and goes to convince the witch for him to get her a map. The witch grants permission. Right there, Jonathan can see for himself the horrors. The witch executes 2 villagers with the help of a make-believe dragon. Chenlan learns more about her people's suffering and she tries to relieve her people's suffering. Surely only the dragon can save them and help them defeat this evil. Peter is still en route to China to deliver the dragon seal, and they finally arrive at the beautiful village. They disguise themselves as Russian traders who intend to buy tea. Peter shows off the dragon seal one by one to the villagers in a bid to find the princess. Chenlan is told that they found a man holding the dragon seal. Jonathan is still working on the maps, however, he is interested in knowing precisely what is happening. He discovers a chamber filled with science. It appears with the help of science they were able to oppress the village. Just then, Jonathan is captured by the witch and tells of her plan to use Jonathan as bait to get the seal. Peter finally meets with Chenlan, although she doubts how the seal landed in his hands. She quizzes Peter and tries to find out how he got the seal off her father. Jonathan narrates how they both were imprisoned and fought together. Chenlan accepts his explanation and wears the dragon seal. This meant hope for the village, but the battle was just beginning. Jonathan sends the palace map to Chenlan and they plan an invasion. The witch learns of the presence of the dragon seal. She orders Peter to be brought to her. Chenlan and Peter devise a way to invade the palace. All hands are indeed on deck to stop the witch. Peter is taken to the witch and accompanied by his fellows. While at it, Chenlan is on her way to free the dragon with the help of the dragon seal. Jonathan has been captured and is going to face execution. Unfortunately, Miss Dudley is also caught and sent to be executed also. With the help of Jonathan's map, they can gain access to the palace. Their first step is to take down the fake dragon the witch built. The witch tries to poison Jonathan to get the seal from him. But unknowingly to her, Jonathan was no longer with the seal. Her persuasion proved abortive. The rest of Peter's crew have made their way into the palace. They bring down the engineered dragon, fight off the men, and finally save Jonathan and Miss Dudley. And to what had taken so long, they both finally united. However, a lot still needs to be finished. The villagers massively invade the palace and face very stiff resistance. Miss Dudley and Jonathan face near-death situations as the soldiers attack them on the bridge. However, They luckily pull through. Peter's men and the villagers successfully bring down the lab and the engineered warriors. Seeing that she is losing the battle, the witch attempts to run away with all the gold she has gathered. Although the good news is Chen Lan finally freed the dragon using the seal. The villagers are amazed and happy at the sight of redemption. The witch is stopped as she tries to escape. It is a confusing fight as they both have the same face. Finally, they both square off and the witch receives assistance from her maids. However, Chen Lan tries her best to fight, but something terrible happens during their combat. The witch is finally able to lay claim to the seal. The villagers appear at the site of the combat. The witch holds the seal and tries to trick them into believing she is the actual princess. Jonathan comes forward and helps them see the truth. She pierces a dart through Jonathan. The witch, still holding the dragon seal, orders the dragon to go to her. Fortunately, the dragon only recognizes the actual princess, Chen Lan. The witch falls off the cliff and loses her life. Finally, everything has aligned. The village is free, and Jonathan and Miss Dudley reunite. The master is also released from prison and heads back to China. But something never seen coming was Mr. Hook going with the master to China. This is a reminder of how entertaining adventure movies can be. The movie's beauty is how it correctly managed 3 different storylines and perfectly made them into one. Coupled with humorous touches, there is never a dull moment in the movie. Also, the excitement from the casting just leaves you excited. Witnessing a fight between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan must have been a childhood fantasy. Finally, you will find it here in the movie. A great and exciting movie overall. Definitely one for a movie and chill season. Please do well to subscribe to our channel, and remember to suggest movies you want us to recap and review.